blacklisting there too. 2. Olowu Adedoyin Victor against the management of Directorate of Technical Cooperation in Africa. Complaints of injustice against the management of Directorate of Technical Cooperation in Africa, DTCA, located at plot 894 number 11, Onisha Christian facing Gimbia Street, area 1, Gaki Abuja, Gaki Abuja. 3. Chief Eso Nka against MTN, Nigeria Limited. Complaints of persistent nuisance, health hazard, dislocation of building, occupants, suffocating and defeating noise, pollution caused by MTN masks installed at Ezi Olua Ngogo Afukpo, North Ebonyi State, Nigeria. Number 4. Prince Omayimi against Ojora Oluwa family in Lagos. Immediate attention for calling to order the unlawful misconduct of the Ojora Oluwa family and their higher thugs dislodging and grabbing people's properties in Lagos. And finally, Mr. President, this colleague, Honorable Jacob Nwala against Felix Ogbebo. Petition against a land grabber, Felix Ogbebo, who invaded my land at Atali with the aid of policemen. Mr. President, esteemed colleagues, to the best of my knowledge, none of the above persons seeking judicial remedy. I therefore seek the indulgence of the Senate to lay the above petition before the Senate for official referral to committee for further legislative actions. I so move, Mr. President.
Is any of the petitioners seeking any judicial remedy?
Mr. President, none of the petitioners is seeking.
You may lay the petitions, please. The petitions are referred to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions to report back in 4 weeks.
Petition. Sir.
You know, Professor Lang, Patricia.
Okay. Should I shout now? He's talking with someone.
Okay. Any more petitions? Chief Whip, the chamber is very noisy, please. Chief Whip, the chamber is very noisy. The chamber is very noisy. Petition, Senator Nora Ladi Dadut.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I have a petition here from one of my constituents who has written this petition so that the Senate may intervene. In summary, he writes to this Senate to intervene in a matter between him and a company. And he says this company was trading in cryptocurrency and he was, by way of conviction, involved, and later found out that it was a fraudulent company. He therefore wanted to opt out but could not recover his money. And so far he has deposited a huge sum of money, and the company has not in any way stopped disturbing him. So he is saying he wants this Senate to kindly investigate the said company so that the company will not continue to swindle other innocent Nigerians. And if possible, if the Senate can intervene so that they can refund his money. And therefore, I find it necessary to submit his petition.
You see, is the petitioner seeking any judicial remedy? You may lay the petition, please.
Point of order, Mr. President. Point of order, Mr. President. Point of order, Mr. President. They look for her trouble. Point of order, Mr. President.
My love.
The petition is referred to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions report back in 4 weeks. Any more petitions? Any more petitions? Okay, Senator Tinubu.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise order.
Please, distinguished colleagues. Senator, those who are standing there, please take your seats. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Oluremi Tinubu, representing Lagos Central Senatorial District. I rise under Order 43. Can I read, Mr. President?
Yeah, you may proceed, please.
By the indulgence of the Senate and the
Chairman, Anambra PDP governorship campaign. Chairman. No, if you choose to sit there, I will not be surprised, and I will welcome you too.
Thank you, Mr. President. By the indulgence of the Senate and the leave of the President of the Senate, a senator may make a personal explanation, although there be no question before the Senate, but no controversial matter may be brought forward, nor may debate arise upon the explanation. The terms of the proposed statement shall be submitted in details to the President of the Senate when his leave to make it is sought. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, at about 3 p.m. on Monday, 1st of November 2021, tragedy struck on number 20 Gerard Road, Ikoyi, Lagos State. A 21-story building popularly referred to as 3 Degrees Towers collapsed, trapping workers and several others In the search and rescue effort that have since ensued, 15 survivors were rescued from the rubble, and 44 persons, including the owner of the building, confirmed dead. This is a disaster of epic proportions, the magnitude of which cannot be overlooked. And as we speak, the rescue efforts are still ongoing. And since that this is not presented for debate, Senate accordingly resolves: 1, to observe 1 minute silence in honor of the departed. 2, direct the Nigerian Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to work with the state government to provide necessary assistance to survivors. I so move, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu. Because like you have rightly indicated, because you have come under our standing order for 30 personal explanation, this is not subject to debate, and we will observe a minute silence. But before we do that, let me commiserate with the people and the government of Lagos State, and particularly the families of those who lost their lives or are affected in one way or the other, and also add here that our professional bodies, the civil engineers, the structural engineers, their bodies, their institutes, Koren, all these professional bodies must ensure that they only certify competent and qualified professionals to be involved in putting structures. We believe that this kind of situation is one too many, because this is not the first time this is happening, not only in Lagos but in other parts of the country. Let's observe a minute silence in honor of those who lost their lives in this tragedy in Lagos. Thank you. May the souls of our compatriots who lost their lives on 1st November 2021 on number 2 Gerard Road, Ikoyi, Lagos, rest in perfect peace. Amen.
Point of order, Mr. President.
Point of order, distinguished Senator Betty Jocelyn Apiafi.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Betty Apiafi. I represent Rivers West Senatorial District. I'm from Rivers State. Mr. President, with your leave, I'd like to come under Order 42. With your leave, may I read or should I proceed?
Which order is that? Order 42. Sorry?
Order 42, matter of urgent public importance.
Are you saying you are coming under Order 42 or Orders 42 and 52? Which one is yes? Okay, you can go ahead.
Mr. President, Order 42 says Order 42 says the matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. Mr. President, the matter has been referred to you, and so I seek your leave to go to Order 52 and take this motion today. As so moved.
So you may proceed, please. The synopsis.
Mr. President, the matter I want to raise today is the urgent need to investigate the invasion of Justice Mrs. Mary Odili's resident by security agents. Mr. President, the Senate notes that on the 29th of October 2020...
No. Distinguished Senator Apiafi, you need the endorsement of at least 1/5 of senators here. So you wait before you start reading your motion. You may sit down. I will put the question first. Because the law, the standing order says my consent and then the endorsement by at least 1/5. So, distinguished colleagues, we have heard the request of distinguished Senator Betty Apiafi. Those in favor that she proceeds to move her motion, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. You may proceed.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the motion I'm about to move is the urgent need to investigate the invasion of Justice Mary Odili's residence by security agents. Mr. President, the Senate notes that on the 29th of October 2021, in the late evening, security operatives invaded the home of a judge of the Supreme Court, Justice Mary Odili. The Senate also notes that Justice Mary Odili is the second most senior judicial officer in Nigeria. Mr. President, the Senate is aware that a joint panel recovery unit of the Ministry of Justice, comprising of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, the Nigerian Police, and the Ministry of Justice, purportedly sought for a search warrant from an FCT magistrate after a so-called whistleblower claimed to have observed illegal activities allegedly going on in a house on Imo Street on Maitama. Mr. President, the Senate is worried that this incident brings back to mind the similar invasion of homes of some senior judicial officers, including 2 judges of the Supreme Court and judges of the Federal High Court in Abuja and other parts of the country in October 2026, which was widely condemned. Further worried that the home of such a highly revered judicial officer could be raided in such a manner by security agents. The Senate is disturbed that 11 days after the incident, though the Inspector General of Police claims some arrests have been made and investigations are still going on, details of such arrests have not been made public. Accordingly, the Senate resolves to condemn the invasion of the home of the second most senior judicial officer in Nigeria, Justice Mrs. Mary Odili, JSC CFR. Secondly, we commend the Inspector General of Police for the arrest already made and investigation panel he has instituted. And then thirdly, we urge the Inspector General of Police to make public the outcome of the investigations within 2 weeks. As so moved.
Senator Michael Opemi Bamidele, Chairman, Committee on Judiciary. You want to make any contribution?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President.
You may second the motion. Use your mic.
Mr. President, I'm Michael Opemi Bamidele. I represent the Ekiti Central Senatorial District. It's really my pleasure, Mr. President, to second this motion, and in seconding the motion, Mr. President, I want to emphasize that as elected representatives of the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, no one of us was at ease hearing the news of what happened. And I want to say that the motion as presented represents the collective desire of all of us as elected parliamentarians in ensuring that the government takes appropriate steps that will not only ensure that those who might be found culpable are brought to book, but also in sending a very clear signal to everyone out there that there is a need for us to continue to, of course, respect the sanctity of the judiciary and the need to continue to also protect our judicial officers like every other Nigerian whose rights under the law deserve to be protected and whose life should be held sacred. Mr. President, I second the motion and I urge all our colleagues, like I know every one of you is in support of this, to allow the prayers to be answered. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator George Thompson Sakibo.
Mr. Senior President, my distinguished colleagues, I am Senator George Thompson Sakibo. I represent the Rivers East Central District. Mr. President, apparently the mover of the motion and the chairman of the Committee on Judiciary has done justice to the motion, but it's just good that I lend my voice to what they have said. Mr. President, a couple of months ago, Justice Mary Audley's residence in Port Harcourt was also invaded. Several reasons were given why thugs invaded the house. I don't want to mention the reasons that does not bring in controversy. Now, recently, as the motion said, again, the house in Abuja was also invaded. And then, after a struggle, the people who invaded the security agents that invaded the place left the residence. They claim to have brought a warrant from a magistrate court in Abuja. They claim the Minister for Justice was aware of it. There are several claims. But I thank God for one thing now. That's to say, the Minister for Justice has denied and dissociated himself from that. The chairman of EFCC has also done that. And I read statement made by the Inspector General of Police that he has done some arrests and that they are investigating the matter. My problem is this. Oftentimes things happen and then police will investigate. And in most cases, we hear investigating, but we don't get the result of the investigation. And I pray that this investigation comes to limelight. But the most important thing in the vision is this. Mr. President, fear is one of the causes of death, of early death. And one of the causes of fear is intimidation. If you intimidate somebody who is giving a responsibility and the person is under intimidation, that person's efficiency will be reduced. The effectiveness will be reduced. The courage and boldness to do the work will also be dampened. And of course, fear gives us a blood pressure. Blood pressure will give us a heart attack. Heart attack will come back by stroke, and then either maim the person or kill the person. So I want to plead that, Mr. President, see the IG of police said they already carried out an investigation, and as the prayer said, let them make that investigation public within this period specified in the motion. so that Nigeria will know the actual cause of these invasions, not once, at least twice. And let us also pray that this intimidation does not create unnecessary fear in Justice Mary Audley and other Supreme Court justices and other judges. And let us also pray that it does not also give out to blood pressure and heart attack. I think the Senate has the power to be sure that the prayers in the motion are enforced. Thank you, Mr. Senate President.
Let's go to the prayers. Prayer 1. Condemn the invasion of the home of the second most senior judicial officer in Nigeria, Justice Mrs. Mary Audley, JSC CFR. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Commend the Inspector General of Police for the arrest already made and the investigative panel he has instituted. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3. Urge the Inspector General of Police to make public the outcome of the investigation within 2 weeks. No. I have an observation here. The Inspector General of Police, you commended him for setting up the judicial panel, the investigative panel. I think we should allow him to carry out his job. If you say 2 weeks, you don't know what time he requires. It may be less than 2 weeks. It may be a little bit more than 2 weeks, but all we need is a thorough investigation. So I believe that we don't need to add within 2 weeks, because we didn't set up that judicial panel of inquiry ourselves. Investigative panel of inquiry. I don't know if you want that, or if you insist, we leave it as it is. Did you get the point I raised?
Move the 2 weeks. Mr. President, I support what you've said, that we remove the 2 weeks. Yes, I do.
Senator Jones Manager, how can you put her on the spot? She knows what I said. Or let me repeat it so that you can hear it once again. The Civil Senator Piafi.
I think the thing is under the investigation.
No, the point I made, you may sit down, please. The point I made is, there is, in my view, the restriction of completion of this investigation within 2 weeks, to me, doesn't look like we have been fair to the Inspector General of Police, because he set up this investigative panel and you commended him for that. He might have set, or the police authorities might have set their timetable on how to go about it. But if you say within 2 weeks, and suppose it's more than 2 weeks, he may be seen to be doing something different from what we are asking him to do. So rather, I'm suggesting that instead of putting 2 weeks, we say thorough investigation, and then he makes it public, the outcome public. But that is your choice. If you don't want, we can maintain your prayer as it is, and then we vote on it. Did you get what I said? So it's for you to respond. What is your preference?
Mr. President, thank you for that guidance. Can we say 1 month?
Why do you want to give time like that? Okay, so you want 2 weeks to remain. Okay. So you maintain your this thing. You are raising your hand, Chairman.
Well, Mr. President, Michael Okwemi Bamidele, Ekiti Central. Mr. President, it is her motion, but it's now on the floor of the Senate. Any senator can propose an amendment to this prayer. So it's not just about her, Mr. President. Mr. President, in supporting the motion and the prayer, I am persuaded that as a Senate, in passing a resolution, we must pass a resolution that will work and a resolution that will make sense to the public and also to the people who are supposed to implement that resolution. When we say 2 weeks, within 2 weeks, 2 weeks from when? Is it 2 weeks from today? Is it 2 weeks from the day the Inspector General of Police reaches a conclusion on the investigation that they are carrying out? Is it 2 days from? So my amendment, sir, is either we are going to drop the 2 weeks completely and just leave it, or we just say, it will just urge the Inspector General of Police to make public the outcome of the investigation once it is concluded, or we just drop the 2 weeks.
Do it from today. 2 weeks from
Okay, let me provide a guide here. And I'm not supposed to be part of this debate, but I'm just trying to provide a guide. If we say provide or make public the outcome of the investigation, and after, for example, 2 weeks or 1 month, we didn't hear anything, somebody will still come back to say we are still waiting to hear this thing. But if you say 2 weeks, to me, I think it's making it a little bit too tight for the panel, because they might have set their own timetable, which we are not aware of now, on when to carry out this and complete it. But it's your motion. There is an amendment in sort. Any seconder? Okay. His amendment is seeking to remove the 2 weeks. Okay, Senator James Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President and respected colleagues. In seconding this motion, Mr. President, we must not whittle down.
Now, the Senator, what he is amending prayer 3. So it's not like you have another room. You said you are seconding the amendment being sought.
I'm very clear, sir. This incident happened almost 2 weeks ago.
Are you seconding the amendment being sought? Okay. Okay. All right. So is that all? No. He said remove the 2 weeks. That's what he said.
No, he didn't say remove the 2 weeks. And I'm not seconding, I have it.
Okay. Need a seconder. No. We have to finish with that amendment. I need a seconder to the amendment being sought by Senator Michael Okwemi Bamidele. Senator Eki.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Senator Akone Yaranyi, Waibom South Senatorial District. I rise to second the amendment made by Senator Adeyemi. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, prayer 3 has been amended by Senator Michael Okwemi Bamidele and seconded by Senator Akone Eki, that we remove the 2 weeks. So the prayer 3, the new prayer 3 will be urge, please, I have to put the question. Urge the Inspector General of Police to make public the outcome of the investigation. Full stop. That removes within 2 weeks. So those in favor of prayer 3 as amended, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues. Leader of the Senate. Point of order, Senator Heidi Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Heidi Young. I am from Plateau North. Mr. President, I am coming this morning under Order 42 and 52 to raise a matter of urgent public importance on the disruption of legislative business in the Plateau State House of Assembly and the need for early intervention by the Senate to avoid further deterioration. And Mr. President, you will permit that since the last speaker that moved the motion quoted our rule number 42, if you will permit that I adopt and rely on it to be granted this opportunity to present this motion, I so move, Mr. President.
Is this Plateau State House Assembly not in session at the moment?
Mr. President, it is not in session. It is under lock and key.
So those in favor of the motion that Senator Heidi Young brought under our standing orders 42 and 52, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. You may present the motion.
Thank you, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues. Once again, I remain Senator Heidi Young, representing the blessed people of Plateau North. This matter of urgent public importance is on the disruption of legislative business in the Plateau State House of Assembly. The Senate notes with concern the disruption of normal legislative business and barricading of the Plateau State House of Assembly, thereby making access to the premises impossible. The Senate is disturbed of the alleged impeachment of the Speaker, Right Honorable Ayuba Abog, by 8 members of the House of Assembly, which falls short of the 2/3 constitutionally required number as provided for in Section 92C of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. The Senate is aware that majority of the members of the House are opposed to the alleged impeachment and have pledged loyalty and solidarity with Right Honorable Abog against those loyal to Yakubu Sanda. The Senate further aware that the Conference of Speakers of the 36 states Houses of Assembly have denounced the alleged impeachment and withheld recognition for Yakubu Sanda. The Senate is therefore disturbed that an impasse and stalemate has arisen, which, if left unattended to, may degenerate. The Senate is aware that the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, in Section 11(4), empowers the National Assembly to intervene in the State Assembly where the House is unable to transact normal legislative business. And it is further concerned that the development in the Plateau State House of Assembly of the purported impeachment has the capacity to negatively affect the democratic credentials, image and standing of Nigeria in the international community and the global stage. Consequently, the Senate resolves to call on the Plateau State House of Assembly to be guided by the rule of law and the Constitution in all legislative business, particularly where and when it affects appointment and impeachment of a presiding officer, in order to deepen democracy and uphold the independence of the legislature as an arm of government, and to set aside the unconstitutional impeachment. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I so move.
Any contribution? Senator Gabriel.
Mr. President, my name is Dr. Gabriel Suswam, Benue Northeast. Mr. President, the recalcitrant behavior of 8 members of the Plateau State House of Assembly, but we must be seen to take actions so as not to allow this permeate to other states that might be tempted to behave in same manner. Mr. President, the chief whip is not doing his work. The house is very noisy.
Please address the chair.
Mr. President, it is not right for us as the Senate of the Federal Republic to look the other way when democracy is under threat in whichever form. The behavior of these young boys in Plateau.
Distinguished Senator Gabriel Suswam, I don't think you can refer to members of a state house of assembly as boys. They are men, because...
Mr. President, the behavior of these honorable members, 8 honorable members of the Plateau State House of Assembly, has the capacity to negatively affect the perception of the international community as the way we are running our democracy. And if we do not react swiftly, Mr. President, we will be seen to be abdicating our own responsibility as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic as amended 1999. And so I want to strongly support the mover of this motion to the effect that this Senate do intervene immediately and make sure that status quo remains as it was before the incident. Mr. President, I was a little bit disturbed because the governor of Plateau State is a former speaker and he should know the procedure. And I saw on television and in the newspapers where he received the new speaker that was enthroned by only 8 members. Mr. President, that should be a cause for concern for all of us. And so we should here, as the highest legislative house of this nation, act swiftly and call these honorable members to order, and of course have reasons to interface and interact with His Excellency the Governor of Plateau State, so that the correct thing should be done. If they follow the procedure, we will not be commenting on it. But procedure were breached blatantly, and so we should not be seen to allow such a thing to happen. Otherwise, it can degenerate and create problem also in other states. Mr. President, I support.
Well, okay, thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, let me, before I put a question on the prayer, let me say that the governor can receive, even if it is a one member of the House of Assembly who wants to see him, as the leader, as the head of government at that state level. So if 8 members or whatever number decided to go and visit him and he receives them, I don't think the governor has done anything wrong there. What is wrong after investigation will be whether appropriate steps were taken. If they were not, certainly that is something that the Senate particularly and the National Assembly in general would not tolerate. So with this, I will put the question on the only prayer. Call on the Plateau State House Assembly. call on the Plateau State House of Assembly to be guided by the rule of law and the Constitution on all legislative business, particularly where and when it affects appointment and impeachment of a presiding officer, in order to deepen democracy and uphold the independence of the legislature as an arm of government. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. That is aye. Additional prayer. Additional prayer. You say additional prayer. Okay, additional prayer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, Jeff, I represent Benue Northwest. Mr. President, the additional prayer is that we should condemn, on certain terms, the action that are bound or most likely going to lead to breakdown of law and order. Already we are told that the Plateau State...
Condemn what? Condemn what?
Condemn the action of those few who have attempted or are said to have...
Distinguished. We are seated in this place. We don't know what happened there. This is the Senator Idija is the one representing that place. This is the way he read what happened. We shouldn't judge what happened. That's my point. Let's insist that the right things be done. We are not sure because somebody needs to investigate what happened. But you can go ahead.
Mr. President, the prayer is not talking about investigation, but everything that has been said here is already in the public domain. So we must condemn them, condemn what they are doing, so that it will send a message to other lawmakers across Nigeria that this is not the way to go. That's my additional prayer, Mr. President.
Okay, Senator Dimka, Ezekiel Dimka.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I am Senator Ezekiel Dimka, representing Plateau Central. Mr. President, this is an issue very sensitive. Now, the best thing to be done, Your Excellency, my recommendation is that investigation should be concluded. Let's know the true position of things before.
Senator Dimka, there is a motion for an additional prayer. I need a seconder. So if you have an additional prayer yourself, you can do that after we take the additional prayer by Senator Jeff. I can see your point is different from what he said. Any seconder to the additional prayer? There is no seconder. So if there is no seconder, we can't put any question on it. Okay. You want to second it? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President, once again, Gabriel Suswam, I rise to second the amendment moved by Senator Okejev.
It's not an amendment, it's an additional prayer.
Mr. President, I want to second the additional prayers as moved by Senator Okejev. Mr. President, I so second.
Okay, those in favor of the additional prayer say aye. Those against say nay. That is it. Okay, any additional prayer? Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President Okejev. I represent Benue Northwest. Mr. President, I'm coming under Order 42.
Mr. President, I'm coming under Order 42. 42.
Under Order 42. Under Order 42. Okay, go ahead. You can go ahead now.
The matter concerns a missing journalist attached to the National Assembly from the Vanguard newspaper. He has been missing in action since the 13th of October this year. Up to now, nobody seems to know what exactly has happened to him.
Please, just the synopsis and then we put the question. Yeah.
It's a Vanguard newspaper attached to the covering the National Assembly here. On the 13th of October, from 8 o'clock, his phone went dead and nobody knows exactly what has been happening to him. There has been a lot of speculation whether he has been detained by DSS or whatever. So the essence of this motion, Mr. President, is to investigate, get the police to find out exactly, to ask the police to investigate to find out exactly what has happened in the circumstances that led to the missing of the journalist of Vanguard newspaper attached to the National Assembly.
Okay, distinguished colleagues, we have had the request of Senator Okejeff. He has come under Standing Orders 42 and 52. So those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. You may present the motion, please.
Thank you once again, Mr. President. The House notes that Todue Salem is a journalist with the Vanguard newspapers covering the National Assembly and has so operated in that capacity for a long time. Further notes that on the 13th day of October 2021, between 8 and 9 p.m., the said Todue went missing and all phone contacts with him ceased. Concerned that efforts by his family, friends, and colleagues to uncover his whereabouts or what may have happened to him proved abortive, leaving everyone to speculate what may have become of him. Concerned that if the Senate, the highest lawmaking body in the country, intervenes in the matter, the police may be better persuaded to do more to get to the root of the matter to alleviate the anxiety of all concerned. The Senate therefore resolves to mandate the Inspector General of Police as a matter of urgency to direct a special investigation into the circumstances surrounding the whereabouts of the missing journalist Todue Salem. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I so move.
Any person to second this? No. Please collect the document for us. Where is the motion? You have not presented the motion. Where is the motion? Because you read something. Oh, you didn't write it. So give him now, because I have to put the question on the prayer. Anybody? Senator Barinada Mpigi.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mpigi Barinada. I represent the people of Rivers Southeast Senatorial District. Mr. President, I stand here to second the motion as ably moved by Senator Okejeff. I so second, Mr. President.
There is only one prayer. Mandate the Inspector General of Police to, as a matter of urgency, direct a special investigation into the circumstances surrounding the whereabouts of the missing journalist Todue Salem. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues,
The first business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Patrick Ayo Akinyelure on the National Agency for Ethics, Values and Integrity Compliance Establishment Bill 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Agency for Ethics, Value and Integrity Compliance Establishment Bill 2021, SB 834, first reading.
National Agency for Ethics, Values and Integrity Compliance Establishment Bill 2021, SB 834, first reading. Taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Smart Adeyemi on the National Building Code Bill 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Building Code Bill 2021, SB 840, first reading.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Barau Jibril on the In Vitro Fertilization Bill 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, In Vitro
Fertilization Bill 2021, SB 841, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar on the Federal Orthopedic Hospital, Orthopedic Center, Patigi, Kwara State Establishment Bill 2021. Mr. President, may we to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Federal Orthopedic Center, Patigi, Kwara State Establishment Bill 2020, SB 843, first reading.
Federal Orthopedic Center, Patigi, Kwara State Establishment Bill 2021, SB 843, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Akon Etim Eyakenyi on the National Coast Guard Establishment Bill 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Coast Guard Establishment Bill 2021, SB 844, first reading.
National Coast Guard Establishment Bill 2021, SB 844, first reading taken. Before I call the Leader of the Senate, distinguished colleagues, we are going to close by 1 p.m. today, and we will do the same by the grace of God tomorrow to enable our committees conclude the budget defense. This week is the last week for all MDS to defend their budget, and if any MDA that is not able to do so should forget about it, because from this week our committees or subcommittees of the appropriation will start defending or presenting their budget defense results with the Committee on Appropriations. So we'll give more time to our committees so that they're able to engage with the MDS. So when we close one, we are expecting that the committees will go ahead and continue with those issues that have not been sorted out. And let me also say this very clearly, that there are many MDS that are being awaited by our committees to present some very vital documents, and this is very necessary for us to conclude on the budget defense exercise. So this week we close at 1 p.m. today, we close at 1 p.m. tomorrow, and Thursday will be for our committees to work throughout the day, Friday and possibly Saturday, so that by next week, by the grace of God, budget defense would have been closed, because that's the only window. So So I want us to be mindful of this so that our committees will go and continue with their exercise for the budget defense. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the Conference Committee report on the Electoral Act number 6, 2010, a repeal and amendment bill 2021. Distinguished senators will recall that the Senate and the House passed different versions of the Electoral Act number 6, 2010, repeal and reenactment bill 2021. The Conference Committee of both chambers has met and harmonized the differences in accordance with the Senate Standing Order 88. Mr. President, with your permission, I wish to move a motion for the Senate to receive and consider the report of the Conference Committee. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the Conference Committee report on the Electoral Act number 6 of 2010, repeal and reenactment bill 2021, SB 122, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate, you may lay the report, please. Leader, you may present the report, please.
Thank you, sir. I think the report has been circulated to all our members. The Senate constituted a 7-man conference committee to meet with members of the House of Representatives Committee to harmonize the differences between the Senate and House versions of the bill for an act to repeal the Electoral Act number 6, 2010 and enact the Electoral Act 2021 to regulate the conduct of federal, state, and area counts in the Federal Capital Territory elections and for related matters. In the course of carrying out this assignment, several meetings were held, which culminated in a retreat held at Transcorp Hilton on Thursday, 21st October 2021. The members of the Conference Committee have been presented in paragraph 1.1.1. The purpose of the Conference Committee is at item 2 on page 2, where the bills to be reconciled are clauses 1, 5, 6, 15, 16, 17, 23, 24, 31, 36, 43, 49, 50, 52, 63, 76, 87, 97, 98, 117, 135, and the explanatory memorandum. The adopted clauses are as follows. The Conference Committee at its retreat considered 21 clauses and the explanatory memorandum and adopted as follows. Clauses 1, House Version. Clause 5, House Version. Clause 6, Senate Version. Clause 15, Senate Version. Clause 16, Senate Version. Clause 17, Senate Version. Clause 23, House Version. Clause 24, Senate Version. Clause 31, House Version. Clause 36, House Version. Clause 43, Senate Version. Clause 49, Senate Version. Clause 50, Senate Version. Clause 52, Senate Version. Clause 63, Senate Version. Clause 76, Senate Version. Clause 87, Senate Version. Clause 97, House Version. Clause 98, Senate Version. Clause 117, House Version. Clause 135, Senate Version. And the explanatory memorandum, the Senate version, was also adopted. A full details of the presentation has been attached to this report for members to peruse. In conclusion, it is imperative, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, for me to point out that the successful harmonization of this bill is a process that started from the 7th Assembly through the 8th National Assembly and has now been completed by this distinguished 9th National Assembly.
This bill is now ready for passage and presidential assent. I'm happy to say that most of what we call citizens' top priorities on the Electoral Act amendment, including the use of technology, has been addressed by this Electoral Act 2021. My distinguished colleagues, on behalf of members of this conference committee, I wish to most sincerely thank His Excellency, the President of the Senate, and His Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, and other principal officers of the two chambers, and indeed all distinguished and honorable members of this 9th National Assembly for giving us the honor and opportunity to serve in this capacity. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Any contribution? Any contribution? If there is no contribution, then I'll put the question on the entire report. Those in favor that the Senate do approve the conference committee report on the Electoral Act number 6, 2010, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs on the screening of Honorable Abdulaziz Idris King, representing Kogi State, and Engineer Muhammad Sani Baba, representing Bauchi State, for appointment as commissioners in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Distinguished senators will recall that the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 15 September 2021 and Wednesday, 29 September 2021, respectively. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Olubunmi Adetumbi, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of this report.
Distinguished Senator Olubunmi Adetumbi.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I rise to move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs on the confirmation and nomination of Honorable Abdulaziz Idris King and Engineer Mohammed Sani Baba for appointment as commissioners representing Kogi and Bauchi states in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. I so move, Mr. President.
I need someone to second his motion. Very distinguished Senator Ebukunle Amosu.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ebukunle Amosu, I represent Ogun Central. Mr. President, I do second the motion ably moved by my brother, Senator Adetumbi, to present his report.
Thank you very much. Those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs on the confirmation of the nomination of Honorable Abdulaziz Idris King and Engineer Mohammed Sani Baba for appointment as commissioners representing Kogi and Bauchi states in the Revenue Mobilization and Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The chairman, lay the report, please. Chairman, you may present the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. This report is from the Senate Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs on confirmation of federal commissioners into the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation, and Fiscal Commission. Mr. President, the Senate, in its plenary session of Wednesday, 15 September 2021, and Tuesday, 5th of October, considered the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for the screening and confirmation of Honorable Abdulaziz Idris King and Engineer Mohammed Sani Baba for appointment as Federal Commissioners representing Kogi and Bauchi states respectively into the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission. And the same was referred to our Committee for Legislative Action. Mr. President, on page 2, we describe the approach that the committee adopted, which is to look at the curriculum vitae, the certificates and credentials, DSS screening, police report, code of conduct, acknowledgement slip, and so on and so forth. The nominees were duly considered, and the findings of the committee are considered in section 5 of this report. After all due considerations and process laid down by the rules of the Senate, we arrived at the recommendation that the Senate confirmed the nomination of Honorable Abdulaziz Idris King as Commissioner representing Kogi State in the Revenue Mobilization and Allocation Fiscal Commission, and that the Senate do confirm the nomination of Engineer Mohammed Sani Baba as Commissioner representing Bauchi State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, on behalf of the committee, I wish to most sincerely thank you for the opportunity to serve in this assignment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Any comments? Leader of the Senate. We resolve committee of the whole, please.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I move that this distinguished chamber resolve into the committee of the whole to consider this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolves into committee of the whole to consider the report, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Approval. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Honorable Abdulaziz Idris King as Commissioner representing Kogi State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Engineer Mohammed Sani Baba as Commissioner representing Bauchi State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion for the chair to report progress. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate reverse to plenary for the chair to report progress, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs on the screening of Mr. President's nominees for appointment as commissioners in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, and approved the nominations of one, Honorable Abdulaziz Idris King representing Kogi State, and two, Engineer Mohammed Sani Baba representing Bauchi State, as commissioners in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Confirmations. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Honorable Abdulaziz King as Commissioner representing Kogi State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Honorable Abdulaziz Idris King is hereby confirmed as Commissioner representing Kogi State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Engineer Mohammed Sani Baba as Commissioner representing Bauchi State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Engineer Mohammed Sani Baba is hereby confirmed as Commissioner representing Bauchi State in the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. Congratulations to both of them and wish them the most fruitful and productive tenure. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the consideration of the report of the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary on the Federal Medical Center, Deba, Gombe State Establishment Bill 2021. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was referred to the committee on Tuesday, 21st September 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, who is to represent distinguished Senator Ibrahim Yahaya Oloregbe, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Senator Ibrahim. Here. Are you the...
It's still not working.
Distinguished Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja.
I rise to move the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary on the Federal Medical Center, Deba, Gombe State Establishment Bill 2021, SB 382. I so move, Mr. President.
I need a seconder. Senator Ladi Nora Dadut.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Nora Ladi Dadut, representing Plateau South. I stand to second the motion moved by Senator Ibrahim.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Health on the Federal Medical Center, Deba, Gombe State Establishment Bill 2021, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, you may lead the report, please. Chairman, you may present the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'll go straight to the introduction and then to the objectives and recommendations to save some time. The Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, at its sitting on Tuesday, 21st September 2021, read for the second time the bill for an act to provide a legal framework to establish the Federal Medical Center at Deba, Gombe State, and for other related matters, 2021 SB 382, and referred same to the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary for further legislative action. The bill, sponsored by Senator Anju Mogoje, seeks to provide a legal backing for the establishment of the Federal Medical Center at Deba by upgrading the existing general hospital to a federal medical center and thereby accruing no financial obligations to the federal government as a result of the upgrade. The observations, Mr. President, on page 2, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, from presentations at the public hearing and memoranda submitted, the bill received overwhelming support for the establishment of a federal medical center in Deba to bring health care closer to the residents. It will, among others, bridge the gap in living standards of health, tackle the problem of overcrowding witnessed in existing primary and secondary health care services, and create access to health care for the people of Deba who are in dire need of adequate health care facilities. When established, the facility will also provide tertiary health care for the people of Deba and adjoining local governments in Borno and Adamawa states. Objectives. The bill seeks to establish a federal medical center with facilities for diagnostic treatment and rehabilitation at the tertiary levels. It will also serve as a center for training of health professionals and conduct advanced health research. Recommendations. After a clause-by-clause consideration of the bill, which is made up of 28 clauses, the committee recommends as follows. Amended clauses 1, 2, 3, 5, subsection 1A, 7, 8 to 10, 12, 16, 17, 22, 23, 27, first schedule and explanatory memorandum. Inserted clauses in the second schedule, renumbered clause 8, subsection D and F. Retained clauses are 1, 4, 5, subsection 1B to F, 2 and 3, 6, 11, 13 to 15, 18 to 21, 24 to 26, and the short title. In conclusion, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, the committee would like to thank the Senate President and the Senate leadership and all distinguished colleagues for the opportunity given to us to serve in this capacity. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any comments? Leader of the Senate, Committee of the Whole.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I write a motion that this Senate resolve into the Committee of the Whole to consider this report. I so move.
Our Minority Leader, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolves into Committee of the Whole to consider the report, clause by clause, say aye. Those against any that is aye. Distinguished colleagues, this bill has 28 clauses. There are few amendments and mostly retained. Those in favor that clauses 1 and 2 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clause 3, clause 4, and clause 5 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 6 is on page 4. Clause 6 is on page 4, allowances of members. Those in favor that clauses 6 and 7, functions of the board, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 8 on page 6, powers of the board. On clause 9, medical director of the medical center. Those in favor that clauses 8 and 9, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 10 on page 8, appointment of directors and other staff of the medical center. Clause 10 on page 8, those in favor that clause 10 and clause 11 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 12 on page 10, establishment of the medical advisory committee. Those in favor that clause 12 and clause 13, fund of the medical center, that those two clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Okay. 14. Those who were at clause 14, expenditure of the medical center, on page 11, and clause 15, power to accept gifts. Those who were at those two clauses, 14 and 15, stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 16, annual estimates and expenditure, on page 12, and clause 17, annual report. Those in favor that those two clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 18, power to borrow, on page 13. And clause 20, exemption from tax. Those in favor that clauses 18 and 19 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 20, exemption from custom duties. And clause 21, discipline of students, on page 14. Those in favor that clauses 20 and 21 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 22, removal and discipline of clinical, administrative, and technical staff, on page 16. And clause 23 on page 19, discipline of junior staff. Those in favor that clauses 22 and 23 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 24 on page 20, regulations, and clause 25, power to give directives, on page 21. Those in favor that clauses 24 and 25 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clause 26, transition and savings provision. Those in favor that clause 26 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the interpretation, clause 27 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the short title, clause 28 on page 23 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that schedules 1 and 2 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues,
I rise to move a motion that the chair report progress. I so move.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate reverse to plenary for the chair to report progress, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate in the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary on the Federal Medical Center, Deba, Gombe State Establishment Bill 2021 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Clauses 126 as recommended. Interpretation as recommended. Short title as recommended. Schedules 1 and 2 as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I write to move a motion that this bill be read the third time. I so move.
Minority Leader. Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that this bill be now read the third time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the legal SB 382 third reading.
A bill for an act to provide for the legal framework to establish the Federal Medical Center, Deba, Gombe State, and for related matters 2021 third reading taken, and the bill is hereby passed. Congratulations. Leader of the Senate.
My highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth order of the day is the second reading of the executive bill standing in my name on the control of small arms and light weapons bill 2021. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was read the first time in this chamber on Wednesday, 22nd September 2021. Mr. President, with my permission, I would rise to move that the bill be read the second time.
You may proceed, Leader. You may proceed with debate.
My highly respected and distinguished colleagues, this bill, with your permission, I would like to read the lead debate on the National Center for the Coordination and Control of the Proliferation of Small Arms and Light Weapons in Nigeria Bill 2021, which is a Senate Bill 794. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, please permit me to lead this debate on this important bill today. The bill was read the first time in this chamber on 22nd September 2021. This executive bill seeks to provide for the establishment of the National Center for the Coordination and Control of the Proliferation of Small Arms, Ammunition and Light Weapons. This center, when established, would coordinate and control the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the bill before us today is of vital importance to our country, particularly given the influx of arms and ammunition that have undermined the security of this country. It will tremendously tackle the menace of the proliferation of illicit trade in illegal arms and light weapons, weapons of terror, that has become a serious security challenge in Nigeria today. Today in this country, there is general insecurity as most parts of the country experience high levels of crimes perpetrated by armed bandits, armed thugs, and criminals using illicit weapons. The UN estimates that about 8 million illegal arms are in circulation in West Africa, and a sufficient percentage of these are in Nigeria. This has greatly fueled violent conflicts, as witnessed in the Niger Delta, kidnappings in the southeast, armed robbery pandemic in the southwest, ethnic and religious violence in the north central, and above all, Boko Haram operation in the northeast and banditry in the northwest. This ugly situation has plunged essential machineries needed to combat illegal importation of small arms and light weapons from all ramifications. Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, it is quite obvious that the effects of illegal arms and weapons of terror in Nigeria are self-explanatory, and it calls for concerted effort by all and sundry to successfully fight against this illicit trade in illegal arms and weapons of terror. It is within this framework that this bill coming from the executive to combat illegal importation of small arms, ammunition, and light weapons in Nigeria is now important and necessary. Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, the following are the objectives of the bill among others. 1. To identify the main rules of small arms, ammunition, and light weapons. 2. To formulate policies and guidelines for the eradication of the illegal importation and proliferation of small arms, ammunition, and light weapons into Nigeria. 3. To train and build the capacity of corps toward the effective enforcement of this mandate. And 4. To liaise with relevant authorities, agencies, and organizations with the aim of making huge success to this assignment. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, you recall that before this executive bill came, the Senate debated and extensively two similar bills sponsored by me and also by Senator Smart Adeyemi and referred to the same committee on the national security. This bill should be harmonized with the two other bills given to the same committee into a single document for eventual passage into law. The two other bills are substantially different from this one, particularly that the first one by Adeyemi and the one that I sponsored were in tandem with the United Nations mandate on the setting up of a commission, to handle this very important matter. But this one talk about creating an agency. So it is the responsibility of the committee now to look into the United Nations Commission on this issue, and also the executive so that we can have one single document that will help us to fight terror in this country. I therefore urge you, my distinguished colleagues, to lend your maximum support for the accelerated hearing and passage of this bill into law. I thank you and God bless you all.
Senator Ali Magataka Damoko.
Mr. President, my dear colleagues, I would like to support the motions heavily moved by the Senate leader against proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria. The bill cannot come at a better time than now, Mr. President. Those of us from Northwest, those of you from Northeast and other parts of the country know how dangerous and how bad this offense has impacted negatively on the security of this great country. So to have and enact a bill that can contain the menace of these small arms cannot come at a better time than now. So I want fully support and all my colleagues support this bill, that together we can make this country more secure than it is today. Thank you, Mr. President. I so submit. I so respond.
Senator Ike Kwamadu.
Thank you, Mr. President. Very distinguished colleagues,
I rise first to support this bill and then to state clearly that the issue of proliferation of arms in Nigeria is a very serious matter. But it's not only in Nigeria that matters such as this is being discussed. The other parts of West Africa is essentially focused on how to control the proliferation of arms. Now, further to that, Mr. President, the authority of heads of state, we have to set up a commission. This was followed up with the provision of a protocol on this subject. Now, Nigeria appears to be doing the wrong thing by trying to create a center instead of a commission. So the difference between the center and the commission is that the center will be controlled by another agency of government, while the commission will be a standalone institution, which is actually what has been prescribed for the rest of West African countries. So when this matter goes, this bill goes to the committee, I would like the committee to take cognizance of the point I'm making now, so that we don't do what is wrong or what other countries are doing. So I just want to point out the difference between what we are trying to do and what actually the ECOWAS are prescribed, which is to set up a commission and not an agency or a center. So I believe that this matter may also go for public hearing, and I believe that the other institutions involved will be able to deliberate on this and be able to come with an appropriate nomenclature, which I believe is the commission and not a center. So I support this bill, but I believe that we need to do whatever is worth doing at all is worth doing well. So if we must create an institution to control the proliferation of arms, we must do what other countries are doing within the sub-region, which is to set up a commission and not a center.
Any more contributions? Senator Mohamed Adamalero.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleague. I remain Mohamed Adamalero representing Kebbi Central. Mr. President, I rise to lend my support to this very important bill for the establishment of center to control and coordinate the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria. Mr. President, one of the objectives of this bill is to identify the routes through which these illegal arms are coming. We all know that most of these arms are coming through illegal routes and on land borders. The ones that are coming through the ports, unless they are concealed, they are normally detected and handed over to the appropriate authorities. So there are other bills, as said in the lead debate, that have already been passed by this chamber. So there is need to consolidate the bills and harmonize them so that we'll come up with one bill that will coordinate all the bills that will lead to the establishment of this center for the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria. As said in this bill, the proliferation of arms has caused a lot of insecurity to virtually all the zones in the country. So it is very timely and apt for us to come up with this center now. And once it is done, Mr. President, I'm sure we'll be able to reduce the insecurity in the country. So I lend my support to this bill and I urge all my colleagues to do the same. Thank you very much.
Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish a national center for the coordination and control of the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria and other related matters 2021, SB 794, second reading.
A bill for an act to establish a national center for the coordination and control of the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria and other related matters 2021, second reading taken. and the bill is referred to the Committee on National Security and Intelligence to report back within 4 weeks. Thank you very much, distinguished colleagues, for your various interventions. And let me also advise that the executive arm of government, especially those that have mandate and jurisdiction on how to control the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in our country and indeed the sub-region, should fully participate in the public hearing. We don't want a situation where organizations will stay away. Then after such a very vital and critical bill is passed and is sent for assent, then some agencies will go and say they don't want this the way it is. They should be present to express their views and canvass for their positions. Thank you very much. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, given the enormous amount of work that our committees have to undergo during this budget session period, I would, with your permission, move a motion that we step down the consideration of all other items on our order paper today to another legislative day. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that we stand down to consideration of the remaining items in our order, on our order paper, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate. Adjournment.
President, having concluded all what we have in today's proceedings on the order paper, I move that the Senate to adjourn until tomorrow, Wednesday, 10th November 2021 at 10 a.m. prompt. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do adjourn till tomorrow, Wednesday, the 10th day of November 2021 at 10 a.m. prompt, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate is hereby adjourned till tomorrow, Wednesday, the 10th day of November 2021 at 10 a.m. prompt. Thank you very much.